What is up, YouTube? Welcome to today's video, and we are going to go over one of the burning questions that a lot of people ask me every day, and what are the top 5 best maps to farm. And this is a very particular question because a lot of people wonder, what map should you favorite, what map should you actually run, why do we want to run these maps? And a lot of times the answer comes down to 3 different factors, which are: what is the layout of the map? Is the layout of the map good? Is the layout of the map fun to run? And then it comes down to if the map has any valuable divination cards. Does the map drop the doctor? Does it drop the apothecary? Does it drop the new brother's gift card, which is the new 5 divine orb card? And lastly, is there a possibility of boss rushing? Now, boss rushing matters because a lot of people run the Searing Exarch or the Eater of World altars, and there are 3 different type of altars. One altar is killing the boss. One altar is related to player, and then that last altar is related to the Eldritch minions. So what most people want is they want the player altars, which can get increased quantity and rarity on the map, or they want the Eldritch minion altars, which makes it so that each Eldritch minion has a chance to drop a Chaos Orb, a Divine Orb, or an Awakened Sextant. So those are the main things that people look for. The bosses are not really that good because they only have one singular reward, which is when you kill the boss, you will get a certain amount of currency, and it is a lot less valuable even after GGG buffing it than the Eldritch minions and player altars. So we're going to go through each one of these maps. I'm going to run through the maps real fast, show you how to clear it, I can go over what actually drops in each map, and why I actually like it. So first off, we have Dunes. Now, Dunes is a great map for Legion and spawning League mechanics. It is super wide open. So we go put in the Dunes map, and then I'm going to put on the Searing Exarch altar. But there's a couple different ways to do the Dunes map. You can run straight to the boss, and the boss is generally not that hard to find. You just go straight down, hug the wall on the side, and you look for this little opening. And look, there's Legion right here, so the map is super wide open. And now you go over here, and you'll have this little clearing, and then there's a boss. Now this boss doesn't really do much. If you do enough damage, he will get immediately killed. But if you don't do enough damage, he will have an extra form where he kind of heals. He is the version of Hillock. So if you can see this map, very wide open, very good for a lot of League mechanics. So most people, when they farm Dunes, they try to target farm spawning as many Legion on the map. There's also some people who do the Daily Rewards Fill Faster strategy, where they spawn as many mobs as possible on Dunes, and then they run like some sort of skittering Delirium Orb, and then they try to get like 20 reward layers on Dunes, and that's a very common map for this to be on. A lot of people also do a lot of Alchemy Ghost strats, just one Rusted Legion Scarab, and run it on Dunes. Now, Dunes doesn't really have any high value div card. I think the highest value div card is probably like Dragon's Heart, but this is a global drop on every single map. Maybe early on in the league, before 6 links get popular, Imperial Legacy is worth a little bit, or Earth Drinker for Roomies, or Lion's Roar Flask. But overall, most people primarily use Dunes because it is a wide open layout, spawns a lot of altars, and is great for Legion and Breach. Now, next up we have Cemetery. Now, Cemetery used to be one of the most popular maps to farm, especially back in the day when there was a card called Brother's Stash, but this card has been changed to Brother's Gift. Now, this is the new 5 Divine Orb card, and I guess we should have always known that it was going to drop in Cemetery based on the art, or the graphic art in this. So you can see right here that there's this little person next to a gravestone. So this card has been confirmed to drop in Cemetery. And if you want any sort of confirmation, you can see I actually dropped this card earlier on in the league. And let's go play the video. So while I was doing this, I was saying before I went to the map, why do I never get the Brother's Gift card to drop? And it's kind of weird. But this is 100% proof that it drops. So you can see right there, Brother's Gift, 5 Divine Orbs. So I got super lucky. Where people wonder how I get my currency at League Start, I was primarily running Legion on Cemetery map. Now, Cemetery is another great map for Legion and a lot of different League mechanics. And it is really easy to find the boss, per se, if you want to do some boss rushing strat. So let me try this out or show it to you how this actually works. So I have another map here, Cemetery. Now, this map is the map, I think it's the Act 7 boss. Or not the 7 boss, the extra skill point quest boss. So generally, you always want to hug the wall when clearing maps. So you can see Legion, they will spawn a bunch of mobs, and so there will be a lot of Legion spawning.
I'm not up to
Let's
that
just go
yet.
here. And the boss is in a separate room, and it's over here in the arena. And generally, this boss can literally be instantly killed, and it has no phases whatsoever. So super easy to do. And primarily use this as the same as Dunes to farm Legion, a lot of different league mechanics, and you can pretty much put whatever you want on it. But the main difference here is that you have this little lottery chance of getting the 5 Divine Orb card or the Brother Stash, because getting 5 Exalted Orbs is not really that bad either. And in early league, if there's Maw of Mischief builds, Cursed Words is worth something. And then the Union, which is like a GCP card, could also be a little bit of a benefit. Now, next up, we have Defiled Cathedral. Now, Defiled Cathedral is known as the Apothecary card. I also think that Defiled Cathedral probably has the best card lineup out of any map. It has 7 Years Bad Luck, which is the Mirror Shard card. We have Apothecary, which is the Mage Blood card. We have Enlightened, which is the level 3 Enlightened card. And lastly, we have the Innocent, which is the 40 Regret Orb card. So there's a bunch of maps. I think there's also this one right here, which is the Corrupted Blood Jewel card. Now, the thing about Defiled Cathedral is Defiled Cathedral is actually a circular layout, which makes it really difficult to use Delimir. Now, the previous 2 maps, Cemetery and Dunes, are not really that great for Delimir either, but they are more linear, or not, they're not as circular as Defiled Cathedral. Defiled Cathedral is literally like race course almost. So in order to clear this map, you generally just want to go to circle, and the boss room will always be on the other side of this circular loop. And you'll see there's going to be a little bit of a staircase or something that leads up to the boss room. So it's not here. So there's going to be the other staircase over here. So let's see where it is. So there's going to be a little bit of opening right here. And then you see there's an orange room, a separate arena. Now this boss is kind of very difficult. He spawns these like pillars of degen, which does like infinite damage. And if you get hit by the frontal, you actually, that thing right there, it does a lot of damage. So let's see. Does he actually want to spawn this thing?
My mana is gone.
Well, I guess my damage is too high. But basically, he's not that easy of a boss. Especially if you do it on a high deli level and you have bad regen, it's going to be a nightmare. Now, the layout is pretty easy to full clear. You pretty much just make a full circle. You go check out each corner. And it's not really the best at spawning Legion. As you can see, the corridors are pretty narrow. It might be good for Blight or something like that, or Abyss, but in terms of Breach or Legion, it's not really going to be the strongest. Now, this is generally paired with Enraged Strongbox farming. Most farming methods with Apothecary are all revolve around Strongboxes and trying to stack the quant on the Strongbox, and then you use like Gilded Divination and Gilded Ambush Scarab. But basically, that is Defiled Cathedral. I do think it is one of the best cards to farm, especially when you're trying to go for that jackpot or you're trying to do any sort of magic finding. Now, next up, we have Crimson Temple. Crimson Temple is another very similar map to Defiled Cathedral. And the nice part about Crimson Temple is that it is actually a little bit more linear, and you could actually benefit from having the Delimir on the whole time.
I'm not up to that
Now, what I mean by that is that you can see right here, this map is pretty much a straight line. So a lot of people, they trigger the mirror, and then they go to the boss. Now, you always want to run to the boss in most of these maps, because if you can run to the boss and then clear the map, you can get as many altars as possible that are related to, what's it called? That are related to Eldritch Minions or player. So you don't have the boss altars anymore. So this map is super easy to run. And then after that, you just go back to the start and you start clearing the map. And you follow the Delimir. And then when you try to open the strong boxes in the Delimir. But you can generally, if you can pause the fog a little bit, be able to clear this map pretty well with it all in the Delimir. But you can see that this map is a pretty simple layout once you get used to it. There's like 3 different lanes, and it just goes 3 different lanes, and it kind of makes just a little bit of a rectangular shape. But very easy map to get the hang of once you know what you're doing. And again, this map is paired with Enraged Strongbox farming, and in this map you are majorly trying to get the Apothecary card. And they have a lot of the same high value cards. It has the 7 Years Bad Luck. And it also has the Enlightened. But the big difference is that there's no Innocent card with the 40 Regrets. And there's also no Corrupted Blood Jewel card, which doesn't really make a big difference, especially if you want to do Delimir farming while trying to get the Apothecary. Now, lastly, we have Jungle Valley, and Jungle Valley is actually one of the maps I primarily farmed at League Start in order to get all my currency. Now, the reason why Jungle Valley is so nice is because you remember how we were trying to rush to the boss? In the Jungle Valley map, the nice part about this is that it can also be done with Deli Mirror, and you can do it with Deli Orbs. It's a very, very linear map. You can just go straight down the line, and it's very, very good for Legion spawning because the map is so wide open. But once we get to the boss, you will notice a nice thing about the boss is that... Oh, let's see. Can I actually spawn?
My mana is gone.
So when you get to the boss, you'll notice the nice thing about the boss is actually not in the arena right now. You have to wait for it to come down. And this actually greatly benefits us because the boss is not counted as in the map. So you can't actually have a boss altar spawn. So this is similar to Act 2 Weaver. And yeah, you might have to wait a little bit when you kill the boss in this map. But it's really worth it because you actually don't need to do any sort of shenanigans where you run to the boss. And you can immediately just get your, what's it called? You can immediately just get the altars done and exclude the boss ones. I'm not sure if why don't I see any altars? Oh, it's because I'm in low tier maps, I think. But basically, Jungle Valley is great for people trying to do Legion farming. It's great for people who want to do some Syrian Exarch altar farming, where they're trying to get as many of those Eldritch Minions drops Chaos. And it's very common that you can walk out of the map with like 20, 30 Chaos and like 10, 15 Awakened Sextants. Now, there is no valuable divination card unless you count the Scout, which is the 7 Exalted Orb card. So you're really just here to try to farm Legion. You're here to try to farm other League mechanics. And you're here primarily to take advantage of the altars not having the boss altar and not having to run to the boss. So in my eyes, I think Jungle Valley is one of the best maps if you're trying to find a map to farm early on. And the nice part about Jungle Valley also is that it has a connecting map of Beach. Now, the way that PoE works is that at the boss and mobs have a chance to drop a connecting map a lot more common. So if you actually favor Beach, you can pretty much run 2 of these maps back and forth, Jungle Valley and Breach over and over again. And Beach is another really, really good layout, which is super, super easy for you to sustain your map pool without actually having to buy more maps. Now, overall, it is great to see that the new 5 Divine Orb card is in Cemetery. Cemetery is a really fun map to run. A lot of people like it. And it does matter because 5 Divine Orbs is a lot of money and currency early game. And if you're farming, like, say, Cemetery versus, like, another map that has no card drop, in the long run, you're just going to make more money because sooner or later, if you farm the map like 100, 200, 300 times, you are bound to get the card, and it has to factor in your expected value. Now, some other honorable mentions, I think Waste Pool also has the Doctor card. I don't think Burial Chamber's in the map pool anymore. But there are some cards that are really, really rare, and we don't really know exactly how rare the 5 Divine Orb card is. I did talk to some of my friends, and no one else really got one, so maybe I just got super lucky. Let me know down in the comments below if you farmed Cemetery and found the 5 Divine Orb card. And the best part about these divination cards is it can completely change the best map to farm. For instance, no one was really touching Crimson Temple or Defiled Cathedral before until the Apothecary card came in. And lastly, for the Crucible monsters, it seems like GGG is not buffing the loot from the Crucible monsters. It does seem like they're trying to nerf the Crucible monsters. However, they are fine with the amount of currency or lack thereof that the Crucible monsters actually drop. But thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know down in the comments below what are your favorite 5 maps. And I hope you find more mirrors and divines than me. And see you next time. Bye.